Teen found dead after boat capsizes in Essequibo River. Guyana Times reports the body of 17-year-old Rickford Jose Angel was discovered on Monday morning along the riverbank of the Essequibo River near Mango Landing, Region 10, Upper Demerara Burbus. Angel, a resident of Linden, reportedly went underwater when the boat he was traveling in capsized on Sunday afternoon, approximately 400 feet from the landing. On Sunday morning, the teen, along with acquaintances, departed Linden for the interior to transport groceries and equipment needed for a dredging operation. Later that day, Angel's family was informed that he had gone missing after the boat capsized. Search efforts on Sunday afternoon were unsuccessful, but on Monday, his body was found covered in mud on the riverbank. A relative reported that Angel's body showed suspicious marks of violence, raising concerns about possible foul play. The body is currently at the Mahdia Hospital mortuary, awaiting a post-mortem examination. The individuals who were traveling with Angel have reportedly been extensively questioned by the police. According to the teen's brother, who resides in Burbus, Angel lived with his mother and sister in Linden. However, their mother had left him in the care of his grandmother to attend to another relative in the ancient county. The brother shared that their mother had advised Angel not to go on the trip, but despite her pleas, he proceeded. He described Angel as a determined and hard worker who attended trade school and took on any job he could find, including washing cars. Angel had aspirations of purchasing a motorcycle and was saving money for it. His brother fondly recalled that whenever Angel earned some money, he would buy food for the family, particularly enjoying Chinese food, which he would share with them. This tragedy comes on the heels of the family losing another loved one on Boxing Day 2024. The brother noted that another sibling, Edward Mikel Blair, died in an accident on that day. Robber apologizes in court, returns stolen items after holding policewoman at knife point. Newsroom reports Vij Prasad, a 23-year-old resident of Parfait Harmony, West Bank Demerara, appeared before Magistrate Fabio Azor at the Georgetown Magistrates Court, where he pleaded guilty to the charge of robbery under arms. On Wednesday, Prasad was sentenced to 18 months in prison after admitting to robbing a female police officer at knife point. The court heard that around 7 p.m. on Tuesday, Prasad accosted police constable Abigail Valentine on Quamina Street, Georgetown, as she was on her way to work. Armed with a knife, he stole her mobile phone and handbag, valued at a total of $43,000. However, shortly after the robbery, members of the public confronted Prasad. Upon realizing that his victim was a police officer, he returned the stolen items. During his court appearance Wednesday morning, Prasad expressed remorse, informing the magistrate that he had already returned the stolen belongings. When asked if he had anything to say before sentencing, he pleaded for mercy and apologized for his actions. This was Prasad's first offense, and taking that into consideration, Magistrate Azor sentenced him to 18 months in prison. Too many unanswered questions remain over Adriana Young's death, says AG Nanlaw. By news source Guyana. Attorney General Anil Nanlaw has announced that investigations have commenced into the death of Adriana Young and the police's handling of the case from the outset. During his weekly broadcast, Issues in the News, on Tuesday night, Mr. Nanlaw acknowledged that while an autopsy confirmed the young girl died from drowning, the police still have many questions to answer. The family of Young has requested an impartial international investigation, but the Attorney General did not specify who might lead this probe. There are many questions that need to be addressed, particularly regarding how the investigation was conducted by the police. I don't want to speculate or prejudice the matter, as this is a highly controversial and contentious issue. The less said about the investigation at this point, the better, Mr. Nanlaw stated. He urged the public to allow the investigation to proceed, explaining that the first phase, the autopsy, has been completed. You can never achieve justice through injustice. If you want justice, you must allow the process to unfold as prescribed by law. This process has already begun, the AG noted. While he expressed his sorrow over the circumstances surrounding last Thursday's events, Mr. Nanlaw emphasized that the situation should not be used to justify violence. He condemned the destruction of the Doubleday Hotel, where Young's body was found. Tell me what connection these horrendous criminal acts had with Adriana's death. There was none. Unfortunately, this violence spread across the country, and instead of acting as national leaders to calm the situation, some politicians seized the opportunity to exploit it. They could have criticized the police and addressed the issues without encouraging criminal behavior, Mr. Nandlall remarked. The country has experienced a series of protests following Adriana Young's death and the autopsy results, which concluded that she died by drowning. 5 teens among 15 charged with acts of terrorism following fiery protests. By news source Guyana, 5 teenagers were among 15 individuals brought before the Georgetown Magistrates Court this morning to face charges of acts of terrorism related to Monday night's fiery protests in Georgetown and several other communities. All 15 accused were denied bail and remanded to custody. Among those appearing in court were 18-year-olds Leon Albert and Hassan Muhammad, 19-year-old Shem Howard, 20-year-olds Antonio Lawrence and Sherwin Nelson, 27-year-old Desafio Harvey, 31-year-old Kian Akeem, 34-year-olds Kevin James and Kevin Rodney, 49-year-old Omadath Bridgemohan, and 53-year-olds Cubert Elgin and Ron Mitchell. Additionally, 18-year-old Emmanuel James and 25-year-old Jamal Small were charged with acts of terrorism, as well as break and enter and larceny. Some of the accused broke down in court as the charges were read, expressing concerns about being mistreated by the police and not being allowed to contact their families or an attorney. The police reported that the 15 men were arrested for allegedly committing acts of terror, including setting fires to block public roadways. The Guyana police force indicated that in the coming days, several other individuals will face the courts on similar charges. The force has also issued wanted bulletins for additional persons connected to the incitement of public acts of terror. The protests escalated on Monday following a post-mortem examination of 11-year-old Adriana Young, whose body was found in a hotel pool, which concluded that she died by drowning. VP Jagdeo calls for thorough investigation into Adriana Young's death. By news source Guyana, Vice President Barrett Jagdeo stated today that a comprehensive investigation must be conducted to determine the circumstances surrounding the drowning of 11-year-old Adriana Young at the Doubleday Hotel last week. An autopsy performed on Monday confirmed that Young died from drowning. However, Mr. Jagdeo believes it is essential to investigate further to determine if there was any foul play involved. The family deserves to know the truth about what happened to Adriana Young. We need a thorough investigation into the circumstances surrounding her drowning, including whether foul play was involved. The president has announced that a complete investigation will take place, Mr. Jagdeo emphasized. He mentioned that he initially suspected murder, given the inconsistent information available at the time. While the cause of death has now been established, how it happened still needs to be determined. More than anything, I believe the family needs this truth. I have seen many people expressing genuine grief and sorrow over the loss of this child, but I have also noticed others who seem to care little about her and are instead using this tragedy for political gain, the vice president stated. Mr. Jagdeo assured that the family will know the truth and emphasized that the inconsistent information provided by the police will also be part of the investigation. We still need to investigate that, and I suspect that in the thorough investigation promised by the president, all these issues, including police actions, will be reviewed, the vice president noted. Additionally, Mr. Jagdeo condemned individuals he accused of instigating violence, asserting that the police must protect citizens. 4 arrested for terrorizing West Dem communities. By Big Smith News Watch. On Tuesday afternoon, more than 100 individuals were arrested for violence, looting, and other criminal offenses, taking advantage of the tragic death of 11-year-old Adriana Young. By late Tuesday evening, the number of arrests increased with the apprehension of 3 teenagers and 1 adult who were robbing residents in the communities of Meetenmeerzorg and De Willem. Those arrested and currently in custody are 18-year-old Kevin Thomas, also known as Ramel, 17-year-old Amos Moore, 18-year-old Vishal Prasad, and 31-year-old Ryan Bodadel. On Monday evening, President Irfan Ali called on citizens to cease and desist from acts of violence against property, individuals, and public infrastructure. He vowed that all who exploit this tragedy to create chaos will be prosecuted. Reports on social media alerted authorities to the presence of the 4 individuals conducting robberies in the area. They are expected to be charged with robbery under arms. According to a police report, acting on this information, the police arrested the suspects and recovered several items, including a mask, a knife, and a quantity of suspected cannabis. Authorities have not yet released the identities of the suspects. Baggotstown murder suspect arrested in Burbis. The Guyana police force has confirmed that the suspect wanted in relation to the murder of Mark Benjamin, which occurred yesterday, Tuesday, April 29, 2025, at Baggotstown, has been arrested by the police in Regional Division 6. The 28-year-old suspect, Hosea Fraser, also known as Hosea Selman of Norton Street, Baggotstown, was apprehended at about 02 to 40 HRS today, Wednesday, April 30, 2025, during a police operation in that region. Investigations are ongoing. Soesdijk triple murder victims to be laid to rest on Thursday. Kaider News reports the 3 women of the Cruz family, who were brutally killed in a tragic domestic shooting at their home on the Soesdijk-Linden Highway, will be laid to rest on Thursday. The victims include 26-year-old Malene Cruz, her mother 50-year-old Wavani Cruz, and her 17-year-old sister, Suan Cruz. They were gunned down on April 23, 2025, at their residence in Wyakabra. According to reports, Malene's husband, Parmanand Ramdial, a goldsmith by profession, opened fire on the family, killing the 3 women and injuring Malene's brother. Ramdial subsequently died by suicide after ingesting a poisonous substance and was pronounced dead at the Diamond Diagnostic Center. Family friend Dawn Sampson confirmed to Kaider News that she is organizing the funeral arrangements for Thursday. She noted that the post-mortem examination was initially scheduled for Monday at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, GPHC, but was postponed due to the autopsy of 11-year-old Adriana Young, which drew significant national attention. Despite the delay, Sampson assured that preparations are now in place for Thursday's funeral. The viewing of the bodies will be held at Sandy's funeral home, and from there they will be taken to their home. Burial will take place at the Kurakuru burial ground, she stated. Sampson also disclosed that Minister within the Office of the Prime Minister, Kwame McCoy, has stepped in to assist with financial support for the funeral. Minister Kwame McCoy helped us with the funeral arrangements, Sampson said. Kaider News previously reported that the attack occurred in the presence of Malene's 3 children, who escaped unharmed. Malene sustained gunshot wounds to her breast, both sides of her back, and throat. Wavani was shot in the head, breast, and right hand, while Suan suffered injuries to her left breast, right hip, and lower back. Independent probe required into Adriana Young's death, says Norton. By news source Guyana. Opposition leader Aubrey Norton is demanding that the Guyana police force refrain from investigating the death of 11-year-old Adriana Young, calling for the family's request for an independent international probe to be honored. At a press conference this afternoon, Vice President Barrett Jagdeo did not confirm whether an international investigation would take place, but he stated that the president has promised an investigation. In an earlier statement, Norton emphasized the need for a thorough inquiry into both the young girl's death and the operations of the police force. We demand a credible investigation into the death of Adriana Young, which must involve respected international investigators. We cannot allow the Guyana police force to investigate itself. We also call for an international inquiry into the Guyana police force, Norton said. While the president has urged citizens to allow the process to unfold, Norton believes the government is not treating the matter with the seriousness it warrants. Unfortunately, the government behaves as if everything is fine, but all Guyanese know that is not the case. There has not been a proper investigation into this crime. Simply stating that the child drowned is inadequate. It doesn't explain how she drowned or who is responsible for her death. No one has been brought to justice, and we do not even know if those the police claim to have arrested are still in custody, Mr. Norton stated. According to the opposition leader, the police force has demonstrated incompetence and, at times, complicity in crime. He vowed that the opposition would ensure this matter does not get swept under the rug. Norton also addressed the need to tackle the politicization of the Guyana police force. We will depoliticize the Guyana police force because we recognize that it is politicized and used against the people of Guyana. Our intention is to improve the training of the Guyana police force, both domestically and internationally, with a special emphasis on enhancing its investigative capacity, Norton promised. The opposition leader has been vocal about the current state of the Guyana police force, highlighting various issues that affect its operations. HGP Nightly News reports yet another Londoner shot by police. Badly injured is Sherlyn Sherman Hollingsworth, also known as Terence or Terry, of 1 Mile Vismar. He is currently awaiting surgery at the Georgetown Public Hospital. Below is an account from an eyewitness. He left his house last night to close his shop in his yard after hearing some boys running through. He waited for things to calm down before stepping outside to lock the shop. Upon returning to his house, he stood by his door while his brother was at the other door, and they were conversing. It's like a range house. Out of nowhere, they heard a loud sound, and he was shot in his right eye. More shots began to fire in their direction from the police. They went to the hospital, and he was transferred to Georgetown Hospital because Lyndon could not handle the injury. This is a developing story. Nandlaw flags delays in Brutus multimillion-dollar money laundering case as wife remains overseas. Newsroom reports a High Court judge has denied Assistant Police Commissioner, AG, Calvin Brutus' request to travel to the United States with his pregnant wife, who requires medical care. Attorney General Anil Nandlaw has expressed concern over what he described as excessive and questionable adjournments in the ongoing legal proceedings involving Adonica Alder, the wife of former Assistant Police Commissioner Calvin Brutus. During his weekly program, Issues in the News, on Tuesday night, Nandlaw highlighted the repeated delays in the case, particularly concerning Alder's failure to return to Guyana after being granted permission to travel overseas for medical treatment. This matter continues to attract national attention, not just for the volume of public funds involved, but also due to the way the case is proceeding, Nandlaw stated. We are now being told that the accused is awaiting a passport, several months after leaving the jurisdiction for what was supposed to be urgent medical care. Alder left Guyana for the United States after the magistrate's court granted her permission to do so, despite an earlier refusal from the High Court. She was required to return after her treatment, but her prolonged stay has now raised fresh concerns. The matter was most recently addressed at the Georgetown Magistrates Court on Thursday, April 17, where Alder appeared virtually before Acting Chief Magistrate Faith McGusty. During the hearing, Alder informed the court that she had applied for a U.S. passport and was awaiting its issuance, a process her attorney, Dominic Bess, estimated could take up to 2 months. Magistrate McGusty requested a copy of the application receipt to verify the claim and adjourned the case until May 16, 2025. Alder is facing 2 charges of money laundering, with prosecutors alleging that she deposited $473 million in illicit funds between December 2023 and July 2024 into accounts linked to her businesses. She is also implicated in a broader fraud case involving her husband, in which 221 Guyana police force payment vouchers were allegedly used to defraud the state. She was granted $1 million bail and required to surrender her passport as part of her bail conditions. Nandlaw, while emphasizing that he was not criticizing the judiciary, noted that the delays risk undermining public confidence. This case has received regional recognition for the quality of the investigation, even being acknowledged by the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force. Yet we now face delay after delay over something as basic as a passport, he added. This is not a trivial matter. Hundreds of millions of public dollars are involved. It is my duty to raise these issues on behalf of the public. The Attorney General reiterated his call for more timely and decisive handling of such high-profile matters, stating that justice delayed risks becoming justice denied.